Hey everyone, welcome to day 36, and today we'll be continuing with the Netflix clone. We'll wrap up the functionality related to showing the um, previews of the movies, and we'll also work on the banner component. So these are the things that we'll be working for in today's session, and let's get started. All right, so what we'll be doing is we'll go to the modal, and what we want to do is right now what is happening is when we hover over a particular uh, movie, right, it is showing its trailer, and what we want to do is when we are moving out of it, we want to close this dialog. So let's work on that functionality first. All right, so there are a couple of events which are available to us. um, so we have this after enter. This is a transition event which is available, right? And when so basically what is happening is the dialogue is having some transitioning effect, right? It is when it is opening. So once the transition is over, what we want to do is we want to get the reference of this element, and we want to listen to the mouse leave event. Okay, so let's add the logic for that over here. So let's copy this line. Okay, and let's move this here. All right, and similarly, when we're saying after leave, sorry, so we have after enter, and similarly we have after leave. So once we have closed the modal dialog, in that case we want to remove this event handler. Okay, and the type for this is HTML section element. Okay, this is a div, so HTML div element. All right, and here we'll do remove event listener. Okay, so we want to get rid of the mouse leave event listener, and then we don't need this logic here. Let's get rid of this, and here we will say that so we need to expose a function which will allow us to close the modal dialog. So we'll say close modal. This is a function which is not going to return anything. All right, and let's define a prop for it. Okay, let me copy this, and here we have that property. All right, and then we'll go to the movie card, and here we will say that let's create a function close modal, and when that happens we want to say set is open to false. All right, and here we will say close modal equals close modal. Okay, let's try this out. So we have entered this, and now we are moving out of it. Hang on a sec, it's not working. Oh yeah, we need to call it here. So we will call closeModal once the mouse leaves. All right. Okay. So mouse has entered and then mouse has left, right? So you can see that it's closing the modal when that happens. And let's make some style related changes here. So let's get rid of this padding. And we also will not be showing the title for the model. So let's leave that as blank. And there is still some more padding. Let's get rid of that. And now you can see we're kind of getting almost a, let's see, a full screen kind of a model, right? And below we want to show some controls. So let's work on that part now. All right, so we'll go inside the movie card component, and what we will be doing is let's add a inside the modal, let's add a section, right? Which we'll be using to, which will be the wrapper for these elements. So we'll move the YouTube element inside of this, and let's add another section here for all the controls that we want to show, right? So we'll have a unordered list, and inside it we'll have LIs. All right, and let's import some icons from here. So import play icon from @ hero icons react 24 solid, and play circle icon. Similarly, we need a like icon. So this is coming from the outline, and this is called thumbs up icon, and we need the plus icon as well. So plus icon, and similarly we need a down arrow icon. So let's get that. I'm using wait. There's a question in the chat. So chevron down. Okay. All right. And so within the LIs, we will have some buttons basically. Okay. So button, inside this we will have the play icon, and let's style this a bit. So we have class which is flex. Okay. Then we have items in the center, and we will say justify, say between, and we'll use a padding of 6. Okay, and then here we will say that these li will take a height of 12 and a width of 12. All right, and here we will say that, so there are a couple of questions. I'll just take them up in just a bit. Let's finish up this part and then I'll answer your queries. Okay. All right. Um, and the button is going to take the full width which is available, and so we'll say width full and height full. So we can see that the play button is showing up here. And similarly, what else we want to do here? We want to, all right, we want to style this as well. But before that, let's add a few more of the icons. So the play icon is done. Then we have the plus icon. And after that, we have the like icon. All right, and these we want to say that these are flex, and then we'll say we want to align them in the vertically align them in the center, and we want to justify evenly. Okay, and we want to give a gap as well, so let's give a gap of say 4. All right, and similarly let's just copy this structure and paste this here. And here we'll add the chevron down icon. All right, so this has been added. Then the next thing that we want to do is we want to give some border around some of the icons like we have in the original Netflix. So I'll just open that for reference here. So if you notice over here, we have these buttons and this, right? So this is what we're trying to build now. And for this, so the li has a border which is rounded. So let's give pg, sorry, border gray, and border gray of 500. Yes, we're using an API to get the information, all the movie related information. We're using the movies DB API, and let's see, let's give a padding of 2, and when we hover over this, um, let's use a white, we want to say border white. Okay, and we also need to say that the border is this much, and we want to say rounded full to give it a circular appearance like this. Okay, And you can see when we're hovering over this, the color is changing to white. And similarly, we want to do this for, let's copy this style, and let's add it for this like button as well. And yeah, and we also need the same logic for this one as well. All right, so this is done to a certain level. The next thing that we want to do is we want to position this dialog, right? We want to achieve this kind of a functionality where we are hovering over this and the model is opening right on top of the card, right? So that functionality we'll try and achieve right now. Okay, so for that purpose, what we will do is we'll calculate the position. Okay, so let's do one thing. Let's create a state over here. Position, set position, and initially let's give it an empty value, and let's create a type over here, position equals. So it will have top, which is going to be a number, and left, which is also going to be a number. All right, and then here we'll say this is of the position type. And initially we'll assign this to null. So this is going to be of type position or null. Okay. And what we want to do is whenever the mouse is entering, right? In that case, we want to calculate the position of this card with respect to the body. Okay, and whatever position we will assign to this model. All right, so that it is positioned with respect to this element. If we inspect this right now, let me zoom this for you guys. Okay, okay, give me a second. All right, I'll have to leave it open, otherwise it will keep on closing. So just for the time being, I'll comment this functionality out. Okay, and if we notice this over here, this is opening inside a React portal. Okay, and it's not part of the root element. It's opening, this modal dialog is opening inside another element. um, and we need to ensure that we are positioning this modal dialog with respect to this. So let's work on the logic for that. So what we will do is whenever the where is it, the movie card, whenever we are opening the dialog, when that happens, we want to calculate the position of the movie card. Okay, so we'll say let calculated uh, position equals, we have the reference to the movie card, right? So we'll say movie card ref dot current dot get client, get bounding client rectangle. So this basically gives us the position of this card with respect to the body, right? So you can see that it's giving us certain attributes. Let's log this to the console. All right, calculated position, and so So you can see this right now. Calculated position is giving us the top and the left with respect to the body element. Okay, so we'll use that, and we'll use this information to position the modal dialog accordingly. So what we want to do is we want to calculate the top. So let top equals calculated position dot top. If it is defined, we take that, otherwise we consider it as 0 and we'll just subtract 100 from it, because uh, all of our cards are of size 200, so we want it to be opening somewhere in the middle, so we are just considering an offset of 100. Then similarly, let's calculate the left. So calculate position dot left, if that is there, otherwise we'll consider 0 and we'll subtract 100 from it. Then we want to check if left is less than 0. So this is for scenarios where, actually, let's come to this point a bit later on. Let's just see what we're getting right now. And we'll say set position. All right. And we'll specify the top and the left. All right. And inside the modal dialog, let's pass this property position. Okay, and since we'll need this type in both the places, let's move this inside a common place. Let's create a new file known as types.ts. Let's move this here. We'll export this, and let's import this from the common place. Let's go inside the modal file, and here we are accepting a position which is of type position, and we'll accept position here as well. All right, and then what we want to do is where we have our panel, right? Let's use the style attribute, and we want to check if position is there. We'll just say that the position is fixed, and we'll just spread the position property which we are getting, and if it's not there, we'll just leave it as blank. All right, and what happened here? So if it's there, we give it, otherwise we give an empty. Wait, what is it saying? Not. This is an optional property. What is it saying? One sec. Okay. And here, let's come here. This can be either this or it can be null. All right. And You can see now that it's opening the dialog, with respect to the card element. Let's see if it's doing that. So it's doing that for all the cards now, right? Wherever that card is, it's opening it from there. And now here you can see here it is going slightly out, and here also it's going out of the screen. So for these edge cases, we need to write some more logic. So let's work on that functionality now. So whenever we are calculating the left positioning, right? So if left is less than 0, in that case we will say left equals calculated position dot left. All right, and we'll say as number, and we will also calculate the total width. So let total width, so for this scenario, right, where it's opening it outside, so basically we know that we've given this a this has a width of 400, right? So let's consider that. So we'll say total width equals whatever was the left value, and we add 400 to it, and we will check here if total width is greater than uh, so basically left is giving us the offset, right? How much distance uh, from the body, how much far away left we are from the body, right? So that is the value of left right now. So total width is whatever is the left plus 400, which is the width of that dialog. If that is, this total width is exceeding the width of our window, right, or the body element, in that case we want to subtract the difference by which the width is exceeding, the width, the amount by which it is going outside. We want to subtract that from the left. Okay, so that is what we are going to do over here. So we'll say document dot body dot client width, right? If total width is greater than that, we'll say left equals left minus whatever is the total width. From that we will subtract the document dot body dot client width. All right, so this is what we will subtract, and let's get rid of this. All right, and let's try this out now. So here it is opening like this. So these are all almost fine. Let's come to this one. And we also need to subtract. Hang on a sec. Let's put this in bracket. All right, now it's much better. So you can see it is opening in the center, and let's see. So this is opening fine. Let's try for this one. This is still, it's going somewhat outside. Did we make any mistake? Let's just cross check once. Total width minus. And we also need to, what do you say? Consider the padding, actually, the margin, right? So the margin is somewhere around 48. So let's subtract 448 from here, and let's try now. So you can see it is opening right at the edge. Okay. And if you want, we can assume a slightly higher value as well, say 470, and you can see that it is now opening inside, right? So this is what we have been able to achieve. Since you're using the YouTube to fetch the data, mm, so the behavior is similar to what we have on Netflix, right? We hover over this, it stays. When we move outside, it closes. So that is the same thing that we're trying to achieve over here. Another thing is if you notice over here, it shows the image for a certain duration, image or the background image for a certain time, and then it starts playing the video. So let's work on that functionality as well. So here we have what we will do is we'll add a image tag over here as well, and we will say image is the source for this is create image URL, and we will specify whatever is the poster path, and we'll specify the width as 400. All right, for this one, and the alternate for this is the title as well. And let's give some classes over here. Mhm. All right, so we have the this will take up the entire height and the entire width, and let's place this inside this section. So let's give some styling over here as well. We'll say aspect square. We'll do a transition on the height property, and we'll say the duration is 500, and we'll say ease in. All right, okay. And what we want to do is we want to show the poster initially, and then we want to basically show this. So here what we will do is where are we getting it? On mouse enter, right? So whenever the dialog is open, let's create an effect for it, use effect. And once we have the video info, right? Actually, let's look for the video info. Okay. And let's create another state variable here. Usestate snippet hide poster. Initially it is false. And then here what we will do is if video info dot key, right? Once this is available, we will say that set hide what's wrong with this? Why is it not? All right, this is our function. This is a state object. This needs to come here. All right, so we'll say set height poster and we will set it to true. Okay, and whenever we are closing this, right, is open, if not is open, and in that case we want to set height poster back to false. All right, and another thing that we'll do, we'll use a slight timeout here, say around 500 milliseconds after it opens. All right, and here we will say that we will check if the height poster value is true. In that case, we will give it the invisible class and we will set the height to 0. Okay. Otherwise, we are going to say that it's visible and the height, it takes up the full height. All right. And for this one, we will do the opposite. So let's copy this and we'll say um, when we're hiding the when let's do the opposite of this over here. When the poster is not hidden, we want this to be invisible and have a 0 height, and otherwise it has the full height. Okay, let's see this now. So for a little bit of while it shows the what do you say, the image. Let's give a height over here as well. So a height of 400 and a width of 400, and let's use a delay of say 800 milliseconds, and let's see now. So initially it shows the what do you say, the image, and then it will start showing the video. All right, what happened here? So you set the width and the height to 400, and this doesn't need the width, I believe. Let's see now. All right, we'll get back to this part. I don't know why it's behaving like this, that this is shrinking. Okay, I misspelled it. Height, Height. All right, yeah, now it's working fine. So you can see that it starts showing the trailer, and initially it will show the poster image and then it will hide it and start showing the trailer. All right, okay. So this part is working. Let's uncomment this now and see if everything is working fine. So this video is unavailable. This one is available. Okay. So this logic is working out pretty well. All right. Now let's start working on the banner component. Okay. And so what we will do is we have the banner component inside the browse page, right? If you remember, we over here we had placed this. Um, so let's start working on that. But before we go into that, let's add a little bit of styling here. Where is it? We have the page indicator, then we have, what do we have? We have the movie card, and we have the title. Okay. Let's change this. Let's switch this to text XL. And we have the page indicator. Then we have this section for everything here. Let's add some margin over here. Margin bottom. Let's try 8. Okay, so this seems like a good enough value. And let's switch this to 2. Okay, I think this was fine. All right, so the sliding logic is working. The movie previews are showing up. Okay, so I think this styling is good enough for now. And now we'll start working on the banner part. And anyways, let's go inside the browse, and we'll create a component for this. So banner.tsx, and we'll create a functional component for this. And what we will do here is we'll just say that this is for the banner. All right, and here instead of this we'll add the banner component, and let's add some functionality inside this component. So the first thing that we'll be doing is we'll be fetching the some certain what do you say, some images and some videos. So let's create URL over here. So use effect. Okay, and we'll create a function over here. Fetch images, and we'll say fetch request. And what we will do is we'll fetch the popular movies. So we'll say endpoint dot popular. And once we have this, not fetch images, fetch popular movies, const response. And here what we will do is we'll be getting a list of all the movies that we have. We'll pick a random one every time the page loads. Okay, and we'll store that in a state. So const random movie fetch random movie. Sorry, not fetch, set random movie. And we'll say usestate. All right, and this is of movie result type. And here we will say that let's create a function over here, get random index, and we'll say return math.floor. We'll use math.random function. And we will say that we want to multiply this by the value that we're getting over here. So we'll pass a last which is of type number, and then we'll say last here, and we will basically whatever this value is, we will multiply, we will subtract 1 from it, and we will multiply with it. And then here we will say that whatever is the response, and then so this is an async function. Let's wait for the result response, and we want to specify the type for this. So this is going to be of movie response, and it will have the movie result array, right? So response dot results, once that is there, we will basically filter on it, and we'll get the movies who have a backdrop path. All right, so these are the movies that we are interested in, and once we have this, what we will do is we'll call the get random index function. We'll pass whatever is the length that we are getting. Okay, so actually let's store this in this variable. and then we'll say set random movie. Here we'll say filtered movies, and we'll say get random index, and whatever is the length of the filtered movies, right? We will pass that over here. So between 0 and whatever are the number of items, we will pick a random index and we will set that movie over here. And inside the use effect, we will call this fetch popular movies. Let's import this and let's style this over here. So here also we'll add a similar logic that initially we will be showing the image, and here we will say that we'll use the create image URL function, and we will pass it the random movie dot backdrop path, and let's give the size as there's another category which is available. So far we were fetching specific with images. There's another category available which is the original type. So let's make some modifications to this. Let's create a type over here. Okay, and let's define a TypeScript type for it. So dimension, for example, equals so actually we'll give fixed values here. So one is width and the other one is original, and this is of type dimension. All right, and here we will check that if type is dimension, sorry, if type is width, okay. Let's give a default value to this, which is width. In that case, we will use this URL. Otherwise, let's just copy this and paste it here. And instead of this part, we will pass the value of type over here. All right. And here we will say the width for this is 0. And here we'll say we are passing original. The alternate text is nothing but the title, which is random movie dot title. If this is there, otherwise we'll just send an empty string. So you can see that it is showing this image over here, right? Every time we refresh, we should get some random image over here from the list of popular movies. All right. So this is working. Then let's give a class over here. We want to make this relative. We want to give a aspect ratio for a video. Let's give this a default height of 800 pixels, and this will take up the full width. All right. So now you can see that that flashing effect is gone. Then the next thing that we want to do is we want to show the YouTube player, right? So for that, we, based on the movie that we have selected, we want to fetch its video information. All right. So let's copy this and take this in a variable const random selection equals this, and whatever this movie is, based on that we want to fetch the video info. So we are already getting the video info inside the uh, movie card component. Let's see how we were doing that. So we had created a function over here, and this was basically accepting an ID. Since we need to reuse this, let's move it outside of this, which is of type string. Let's cut this from here and let's paste it inside the API, and we need the endpoint over here. Let's import this, and let's export this function. So movie video result, and these types also would be required by this. Let's go inside the movie card where we had the types for this. Let's cut this from here and paste it in this file. All right. And where we were using those, and we'll pass this the id dot to string. And once we have the random selection, we want to basically set the video information. So use state snippet video info, set video info. This is of video movie video info type, and we will basically call that function const video info equals set, sorry, not set, fetch video info, and whatever it was our random selection, right, dot id we will pass to it, and we will pass the string representation for it. Let's wait for this response. Once it is available, we will set video info with this video info. And here also we want to ensure that we get those movies. Let's just pick one. Let's just pick the first one. Okay. All right. So once this is available, we will pass the video ID as video info dot key, and ID is banner video. All right, and let's provide the options for this. So const options equals, so this is of type YouTube props So this is of the type options. Let's define some values over here. So the width, let's just copy the values which we had used over here and we'll tweak them. All right, let's copy this. And we want to set the width for this as 800 and the height for this as 800 as well. Okay, let's see how this is working out. And the other thing that we want to do is let's give this a class. So the width, instead of 800, what we will do is whatever is the width of the window, right? uh, Window dot, sorry, document dot body dot client with whatever this width is, we will set it to that. So let's refresh this. So for some reason that video is not available. So this one is playing now. The next thing that we want is, uh, if you notice over here, right, the header is transparent. So let's work on the header functionality. But before we work with that, let's take a short break here and I'll answer your queries in the chat. All right. So there was a question about, can you explain image slider scrolling part? All right. So there was a question about the slider basically. So what we had done over here is that we have these arrows, right? We have limited this entire window. We have given it a fixed width, and then we have another another section which is, so it is somewhat like this. You have a restricted window. Okay. Let me open something. Let me draw and explain this to you. So we have this window, and then we have a large number of images basically. Okay, these are our movie cards. 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 7, something like this. All right, so we have these movie cards, and let me just change the color for this. And this is our window, right? So the cards which are fitting inside this window, they are visible. All right, and rest of them are outside. Now what we're doing is we're using the transform property, and we're using the translate function, and we're translating in the x direction. Okay, so what we're doing is whenever we click on this button, right, we have these buttons over here basically. So suppose this is the next button, and then this is the previous button. All right, whenever we are clicking on this, what we're basically doing is that we're doing a translation. Okay, we are saying that this entire section, this should translate in the negative direction. So this is the negative direction, this is the positive direction. Whenever we click on next, we are using the translate function, and we are translating this in the negative direction. So these entire series of cards, right? So what happens is, this becomes visible and these become hidden, all right, whenever we click on next. So we are translating this, and similarly when we click on this, we are doing a positive translation, right? So the window shifts like this. So these, all of these are basically moving in this direction. Okay, so these become visible and these become hidden. So that is what we have done. Basically, we've used the translate function, the translate x function, and we are passing it a negative value, and we are basically translating. So if we inspect this, let me just comment the code for the modal opening. Where is it? Mouse enter, and here we were basically opening this. Let me comment this out, and let's inspect this. So this is the entire row, right? When we are clicking on this button, uh, this one actually, so you can see that it was translated in the x direction. We click on it again, again it is translated, right? And similarly, when we click on this, it is translating back. So initially it is 0, and then we are basically translating. So that is the logic that we have written over there basically. Okay, all right. Any other? So there's a question, when will the front end part end? It will end by the end of this month. Uh, Probably next Monday will be the last session, if everything goes according to the plan. Okay. All right. Let's get back to the banner part. So what we want is that this is basically showing up, right? This header is behind. I mean, this video part is, uh, you know, this header is transparent, and this starts from here basically. So for that, let's come to the browse component, and let's make a slight change over here. So we will say that let's give a class over here, and we'll use absolute positioning, and from the top we will say this is starting from 0. So you can see that it is starting up from here now. And let's go to the header component, and let's add the logic here that this has a relative positioning, and what we want is that this has a z index as well. Let's give it a z index of 10. So now you can see the header is coming on top, and you don't need this border anymore. And what we would like to do is, when we are scrolling, right, the this we have this black border over here, I mean, sorry, this black background color basically. So the same effect we will try and get over here as well. So for that, we will say that we want to listen to the scroll event on the window. So we will add that code inside our use effect, and we will say window dot add event listener. Whenever we are scrolling, we want to call a function. So let's create a function over here, function on window scroll, and we will check if window dot scroll y is greater than a certain value, say 8 for example. Then what we want to do is we want to create a state over here, const fixed, and initially it is false. We will say set fixed to true, else set fixed to uh, false. And here we will say that we will pass the on window scroll function here, and whenever we are unmounting from this component, we will say window dot remove event listener scroll, and we will pass the function. All right, and what we are going to do here is that we will check. Let's use the template literal syntax here. Okay, and we will check if this is fixed, right? Um in that case, we want to give it the fixed class, and this needs to be question mark. Otherwise, we make it relative, and from the top, it should start at 0. The background should be bg dark, and here it should be relative and bg transparent. All right, and there should also be a transition on the colors. We'll say the duration is 300, and we'll say is linear. All right, let's see how this is working out, and let's go back to the banner. I'll just comment this image out for a bit. So you can see that we have this, and let's start scrolling. This is relative. 1 second. This is the section, this is the banner, then we were at the header. So the header is showing up, But are we making any mistake here? Fixed FIXED. Okay, this should not be here. All right. So this is appearing, but it's not taking up the entire width. So for that purpose, we need to say that the width is full. All right. So now we have that effect, right? As we are scrolling down, the header becomes visible. Otherwise, it is transparent. And we have some information coming from YouTube that we will hide. Okay. So let's go back to the banner component and let's style this now. So we have this class name over here. All right. So this is also absolute. From the top, it has a margin of negative margin of 14. All right. So we're doing this so that we can see the header properly. Otherwise, some of the things coming from YouTube, the title and all, we are cutting that part out, right? If we set this to 0, for example, um, you can see that there's some information coming from YouTube, the video title and all. We are not interested in that, so that is why we are giving a negative margin from the top. And then also inside the header, what we will do is let's in let's change the where is it, the text color. So we have the logo, and instead of saying font thin, we'll say font normal. And let's use a gap which is slightly larger than this, say gap 8. All right. And then as we are scrolling, this becomes visible. Okay. And when we play this, the video starts to play. Okay. Then over here also we want to show the image, right? So we'll add a similar logic over here, that initially we'll be showing the image. All right. So let's style the image part. And I just want to cross check once whether the images are showing up. So the images are breaking. Packed up path. Let's just check once. In the network tab, what is the... So we were getting the popular movies, right? Let's log the fetch video info. We are getting the ones which have YouTube in them. That is fine. And then this was the logic for the random selection. So let's log the random selection that we're getting. And here we will check if the random selection is there, right? If the random movie is there, then we show this. Otherwise, we show nothing. Okay, this is giving us an exception for the page indicator. Let's see what is going on. Here also we will check that is finite page count. In that case, we show this. Otherwise, let's just show nothing. All right. And we are getting some errors in the console as well. Let's get rid of these. These are related to the key. So inside the content rows, here we have the movie card, right? So index is not going to make it work. Let's give the title instead. And let's give a unique ID property here. And let's pass this here. And here also we'll define the UID, which is a string. And here we will say that the key is the UID. All right, let's see if you're still getting those errors. So all of those errors are gone. And we were also logging this to the console. Let's get rid of this. Okay. So this is the random selection that we got, and this is the backdrop path. Let's go to the network. And let's come back to the banner. So the banner, I mean the image also, let's give this a class width full and height full. And we're passing the original URL over here, right? Let's try and see the value that we're getting for that. I think we forgot to do this set random movie random selection. Okay, that is why we were not getting the images. So you can see that here we're getting the images now. All right. And the menus are showing up. And when we scroll, the header becomes like this, right? It gets a darker background. All right. Okay. So that was the problem with that. And here also we'll add some more logic that we will show the poster for a while. So hide poster set hide poster, and we'll say use state. Initially it is false. And another thing that we want to do is, let's show the YouTube player here. We have an event on state change. So this gives us the information as to whether the video is playing or the video has stopped playing. So on state change, so we'll get the event object, which is of YouTube event, and we'll get a number here. And let's pass that function here on state change. Okay. And we want to check if event.data equals to 0, right? So this indicates that the video has finished playing. And else if data equals 1, right? That means the video has started playing. Event.data. All right. So we'll add some logic over here that we'll say whenever it has finished playing, once again we want to show the poster. So we'll say set hide poster, we'll set it to false, right? And here we will say that so whenever we have the hide poster property, right? In that case we are going to say that the height is 0 and this is invisible. Okay, and otherwise the height is full and the width is full, and this is visible. All right, and here we will do the opposite, that if height poster is there, that means we want to make this visible and give it the full height. Otherwise we want to make it invisible and give it the set the height as 0. And we'll also make this absolutely positioned. Okay, and here we want to ensure that this starts playing only when the video info is there. Otherwise we show nothing. All right, once the video starts playing we will say that we want to hide the poster. And here also we'll use a timeout that initially, after say 800 milliseconds, we will say that set hide poster to true. So we can see that the video starts playing, right? Initially it will show the poster and then the video will start playing. Okay, if we change the screen resolution a bit, because I'm working on a very large screen right now, so now you can see we are getting a pretty decent effect for the movie banner over here. And every time we refresh, we'll get a different movie. All right. And now we also want to show some buttons like this: play, the title and description, and the play button, and so on. So let's work on that part now. So we will have a section here, and inside this we will have a heading. We will display the random movie dot title here, and then we will basically show a paragraph, and this will have the overview of the movie here. All right, and right now it is showing up here, right? So we will give this positioning over here. We will make this absolutely position. Let's give it a z index of 1, and from the uh, bottom this takes up 16. So now you can see it is showing up here, right? And let's give it a margin from the left 16, and we will say max width. It will take up of a small device. So you can see that it is showing up here. Let's give a different class for the heading. We'll say text. Okay, so here we will say text 6XL. So the title size increased, and let's give a class here as well. We'll say text small. All right, and let's add another section over here for those buttons. So we'll have buttons over here, one for the play and the other one for more info, like this. And let's give this flex column, and let's give a gap of 2. All right, and here also we'll use flexbox, and we'll use a gap of 2 as well. Okay, let's give some classes over here. We'll say let's give this a width of 100 pixels, background bg white, and there's a padding of 2, and the text is in the text is dark colored, so you can see this button over here, and this is rounded, medium. All right, let's copy this styling here. And instead of white, this has a gray, not gray, zinc 400. And this has a slight opacity as well. And the text is white. And we have some icons over here as well. So let's get the play. Uh, Instead of the play circle icon, we need the play icon. And we need the from the outline, we need the information circle icon. Okay. So here we will have the play icon. Like this, and similarly the info icon like this, and we'll use flex over here so that they're in the same line. And let's give these icons a width of 8 and a height of 8. um, Items, we want them to be centrally aligned. Let's use a span here. Okay. Let's give this class to this icon as well. And this also, we will say this is flex items center. And we'll increase the width for this to 150. So there we have these two buttons as well for more info, and the play up button, right? Let's increase this, and you can see that we are getting the similar kind of a look and feel as we have over here, right? All right. um, so I think so far we have achieved quite a lot of functionality. And then what we will do is so this part is done. Then let me just uncomment the part related to the movie card where we had we were closing the modal dialog, right? So you can see that over here that this is working, and so is this. Once the video has stopped, once the video stops playing, it will once again go back to the image, and here we are showing the title as well as the text. Let's do one thing. We'll restrict this to 3 lines. Okay, if there is some text which is taking up more than 3 lines, we want to ensure that it doesn't extend beyond that. So for that, we will go to the Tailwind CSS. We'll install the line clamp plugin. So this is the package for that. Let me install it. pnpm line clamp, and I need to add this entry in the Tailwind config. Okay. All right. Let's go to the Tailwind config file, and inside plugins, I need to add this entry. And then inside the banner, we will go to the paragraph, and we will say line clamp 3 here. So if there is text beyond 3 lines, you can see we're getting this ellipsis notation. All right. So I think we are good to go for, and you can see that we can't read this text, right? Let's handle that as well. So we'll create another section here. Let's give this a class absolute, and this has a z index of 1 as well. From the top it starts at 0, left 0. It has a full width and a full height, and we are saying that this has a bg dark and it is 60% visible. So now you can see that we have this black layer in between, and this text becomes legible. And but the thing is, now we can't click on this play icon. So what we will do is let's make this this is absolutely positioned as well. Let's give it a z index slightly higher than this. Right, so this is showing up that information, but this is hidden once again, so this is not helping us. And another thing that we want to do is so we will have, so this part is also done. So initially we'll have the image, on top of that we will have this, and and then on top of that we will have the YouTube video and this information. All right, but what we also would like to do is let's create a state variable for this. show backdrop, and we'll set this to false initially, and we'll show this particular element only when the show backdrop property is true. So here we'll say show backdrop. We show this, otherwise we do not show this. And let's not mess with the z index here. Let's put this back to 1. And this also has a z index of 1. And then once the video has started playing, right, in that case we will say that set hide poster to true. We want to hide the poster once the video starts playing, and once the video has finished playing we'll say set, not set hide poster, set show backdrop to true, and set show backdrop to true in this case, and when it starts playing we want to set it to false. So for this the video is not available. Let's see if it will fetch any other movie, and it's playing the trailer for that. Let me enable the controls right now so that we understand when the video is ending. Let's go to the options, set controls to 1, and we can see the controls, right? Let's come to the end, and once it's at the end you can see once again the image is showing up, right? And so that is the effect that we were, so that is why we had written that code here, that once the video has finished playing we'll show the poster once again. All right, okay, so this is it for today's session. We'll work on the remaining functionality in the next session. If you have any doubts, you can join the Discord channel, and right after this session, and I'll see you there. So take care and have a great day ahead.